Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of the NASCAR Heat 5 career mode here on the channel. Today we go to Talladega here in both the Xfinity Series as well as the Cup Series. Always a fun time to come to a plate track as historic as well as Talladega Superspeedway is. So we're going to jump right into the action here with the Xfinity Series, where for the first time this season in the 54 car for Joe Gibbs Racing, we had Denny Hamlin hop into this car. So we've had myself, we've had Kyle Busch, and we've had Eric Jones run in this car. Obviously, Jones still kind of in the JGR stable, just no longer in that 20 car. So we'll see if he ventures off anywhere. There is some rumblings going around that we could see Eric Jones maybe back in a Cup ride very soon, but we'll have to stay tuned on that now as we get underway here in Talladega for the Xfinity Series. Of course, Hamlin starting at the back of the field here in Talladega, as you cannot qualify here to save your life. So we always are going to be starting in the back every time we come here to this racetrack. But Hamlin staying on that bottom lane would be obviously the quickest way to move forwards here in the Talladega Superspeedway. So obviously you're going to see me run other lanes than just the bottom, because I get really bored running the bottom lane the whole race now, as I like to do spice it up now, as Hamlin went down into turns 3 there, just making up no ground at least on the first part of this opening lap. But staying on that bottom lane, Hamlin would be able to use that to his advantage, and he would be able to make some moves towards the front. He came through now a few laps later. He had gotten up towards the kind of mid-pack area up the inside of the 4 of Jesse Little as he went down into turns 1, just trying to move his way forwards as quickly and as smoothly as possible here now, as there was kind of single file up at the very front there from at least first to third now. As Hamlin clears that 4 of Jesse Little, he continues to move forwards though as the race goes on, getting up towards a top 10 position now, past about the halfway point of this race as he went down this backstretch on the inside of Jeremy Clements there down the back straightaway. So Hamlin moving his way forwards there as he goes down towards turn 3, just behind the number 1 car of Michael Annett for JRM now, as he goes down into turn 3, and he just continued to climb his way forwards to come through a little bit later in the race now up the inside of Chase Briscoe, just behind Chastain, up inside that top 10 here as he was closing in towards the later stages of this race here in the Money Lion 300 at Talladega now, as he's right on that back bumper of Chastain. It was Daniel Hemrick who was currently leading with Mike Harmon in the 2nd position. We come through now even closer to the end of this race. He was now up the inside of Chastain, 3 wide with Chastain and Chastain's teammate of Justin Haley, who just won very recently here in the Xfinity Series in the career mode. So he will be in the playoffs this season now, as he's still side by side with Chastain, but he would get ahead of him now as he came through to start the final lap here in Talladega. Hamlin goes 3 wide up the inside of Harmon for the 2nd position, as well as Tommy Joe Martins that was on the far outside. Hamlin has a draft partner from behind, sets his sights now on Daniel Hemrick here as he goes down the backstretch for the final time. He would make no ground there as he went down towards turns 3 here on the final lap. He had finally, though, gotten right to the back of Hemrick. He looks to the outside. He knew he would have help from the 13 here as he came through out of turns 4 down the front straightaway here on the final lap. Hemrick goes high. Hamlin's going to look to the inside here as they come down into the tri-oval. Does he have the run? He has help from behind. It's going to be very close through the tri-oval. Hamlin, Hemrick at the line. Hamlin barely gets him and picks up the victory here in Talladega. A very close finish. It was, I think, 4/1000ths of a second, it says right there on the race time. So an extremely close one, and to start this episode off, we get a wild finish here in Talladega with Denny Hamlin picking up the victory and Riley Herbst down there in the last position. So now it was time to get ready to go Cup Series racing here in Talladega, as that was the 2nd time the 54 car has gotten to victory lane so far this season here in the Xfinity Series. And just for, I guess, immersion purposes, I decided to run a qualifying lap anyways here in Talladega. And of course you can imagine how this lap was going to go. So it was a terrible lap, of course, compared to the AI as I go down the back straightaway into turns 3. The goal was a 48.333, and I was completely way off that goal as I come through the tri-oval, crossing the line. I only did 1 lap, and I ran a 49.722. So way off now here in Talladega for qualifying. So starting last, William Byron, Jimmy Johnson, Matt Kenseth, Kevin Harvick, Cole Custer, a lot of big names here in the bottom part of the field. So we definitely aren't the only one that has a good car that's towards the back. So let's get ready to go green here for the Geico 500 at Talladega Superspeedway. Here as you see the flyover of the track, of course, on the Microsoft Flight Simulator. There you can see the big Talladega Boulevard there in the infield as well. One of the least detailed tracks, though, I've noticed so far in Microsoft Flight Simulator from the ones we've gone to. There's, you see the airport we landed at just on the outside of the track. But we're ready to go green here in Talladega Superspeedway, and we're going to send it over to our pit reporters.
Thanks, Gary. Keep your eyes on Ricky Stenhouse Jr. today. I spoke with him this morning in the garage, and he told me he feels this is his best shot to get a win with his new team to lock himself into the playoffs. Expect him to push hard today and go for the lead any chance he gets. Stenhouse is for sure one we'll have to watch out for.
One car to keep your eye on here today will be the 9 of Chase Elliott. Chase is an extremely aggressive plate racer, and he likes to run up near the front at places like Daytona and Talladega. He's also had a pretty rough start to the season here, so he's going to be aggressive and try to turn his luck around. I'd watch for him to be headed to victory lane.
All right, there you heard it from our pit reporters, Jay and Andrews. We're ready to take the green flag now here as we are underway in the Geico 500 at Talladega Super Speedway. So the ones to watch there from, you heard Stenhouse and Elliott. Stenhouse, Elliott, both very aggressive drivers at plate tracks, except Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has a bit of a history of causing crashes, going for the lead sometimes and just being way too overly aggressive sometimes at plate races. So going to have to watch out for those two here today as we are underway here in Talladega through turns 1 and 2 on this opening lap as we go down this backstretch 3 wide with Cole Custer as well as Kevin Harvick. The two Stewart-Haas Racing drivers are already past the 7-time champion of Jimmy Johnson, who would love to visit victory lane here at Talladega like he did back in 2011 in a photo finish with Clint Boyer, actually, which tied the closest finish ever in NASCAR history. Now as we come through turns 3 and out of turns 4, passing Harvick as well as Chad Fincham, who won the very last plate race here in this season in the career mode, which was the Daytona 500 there, as he was a rookie winner, which put him briefly into the playoffs, but he has fallen outside of the top 30 in points. So Chad Fincham no longer in the playoff picture, as he's going to actually give me a shove here as we go down towards turns 1 behind the 24 of William Byron. Byron still looking for that first career win here now, as keep in mind we started this career mode before William Byron had gotten a win in real life, so we consider him to have 0 wins so far now, as this is being portrayed as a 2020 season. Now as we go down this back stretch here in P33, so we've gained a little bit of time, and then sure enough on lap 3, now up inside the top 30 here, up the inside of the 11 of Denny Hamlin, as we're just kind of following William Byron at this point, moving our way forwards. As we got to the back of him a little bit there, got him a little bit loose, but he did save it without a single issue. Now as we are up in P27, we just kind of continue moving our way forward, though, on this bottom lane. Now on to lap 4, up to P24. Chase Elliott, the one that Andrew was just talking about being a driver to watch, well, he is out front at this point here in Talladega's. Now we're up the inside of William Byron, 3 wide with him in the 17 of Chris Buescher, as we go down towards turn 3 behind the 73 of Bobby Carter. But for the first time already today, we get a caution here in Talladega. I could not find what brought it out, but clearly something happened behind us that brought out this caution. No pit stops were necessary under this yellow flag, so we would stay out and get ready to go green here from the 23rd position, just behind the 62 of Brendan Gaughan there on that South Point Casino, or Hotel and Casino Chevrolet. Now as we are back underway here in Talladega, close to the halfway point of this first stage now, as we are back underway with Timmy Hill behind myself. I get down to the bottom, actually making sure that gets protected, because I saw the 3 car all the way down here, so I wanted to make sure that maybe I didn't get caught off guard or something by Timmy Hill here as we go down into turns 1. Bobby Carter and Chris Buescher all the way up on the top. Brendan Gaughan in the middle, kind of getting hung out here as we come through the center of the corner, but he does have that draft from Martin Truex Jr., our Joe Gibbs Racing teammate here, as we go down this back straightaway now. So Gaughan trying to stick with it now, as right behind me we got Timmy Hill, who nearly tries to go to the outside. I couldn't figure out what he was going to do there, as he was just kind of all over the place now. As we dive down into turn 3 into the back of the 3 of Austin Dillon, he saves it there, as we just got him a little bit loose too, like we did with William Byron in that 24 car, as Chase Elliott continues to be in command of the field here as we go down this front straightaway. Austin Dillon just in front there of myself, with Martin Truex Jr. up on that second lane. Bobby Carter on my outside here as we come through, completing the lap now at that halfway point. 7 laps to go here in stage 1, as I decide to jump up into the second lane and try to help my teammate of Martin Truex Jr. Of course, want to try and play that team role if I can, as they're going 4 wide behind us there. We got Chris Buescher, Brendan Gaughan, Timmy Hill, and I believe it was William Byron or something that slid through on the bottom, as well as, or maybe Kurt Busch even, as we actually get help from the 24 of Byron. They're still 4 wide behind us, all kind of getting glued together, but they would kind of get it sorted out here as we go down towards turn 3. And then I would actually go to the outside of Truex here into the trial one. Now kind of got bored of riding behind him, and I wanted to see if we can make something happen. So they're going to go 4 wider in front of us. There is a nearly crash here down the front straightaway. The 36 of Reagan all over the place. A big save as we got into the back of him there, unfortunately, but everybody keeps it straight, as that was nearly a massive disaster here. But everybody keeps it straight. We're down to P20 after after that mess right there, as it was John Hunter Nemechek currently leading the way. But we come through now towards the end of lap 9. We had moved our way back into P18, looking to the outside of the 37 of Ryan Preece. Not sure where his teammate Ricky Stanos Jr. was at this moment here as we come through the tri-oval. Actually, you can see Stanos right now all the way up by the wall. He is up towards that front along with Chase Elliott now as we come through now on lap 10. Elliott, Stenhouse, the drivers that we were talking about to watch there from the pit reporters, kind of linked up together there as we're going to go 4 wide with now Boyer, Stenhouse, and Ryan Blaney as we went down that back straightaway. So so far chaotic, wild racing here in Talladega. Now, as I actually jumped up to the outside to try and help Chase Elliott there in the number 9 car, but I actually decided we're going to drop back down because it just kind of wasn't going anywhere. So here into the tri-oval, I dropped down, and unfortunately, Elliott's just going to kind of drift back now as we come to this tri-oval right behind the 6 of Ryan Newman here with 4 laps to go only in stage 1 as we run about P13, P14. There's a little bit of contact with David Reagan, but it wouldn't be too much of an issue. I kind of stick with Ryan Newman, and then I get into the back of Reagan there going into the tri-oval now, and then we get help from Chase Elliott. A lot of wild racing so far in stage 1, a lot of opportunities to have crashes, but so far the field has done a great job of hanging on to their cars now as we dive down into turns 1 of the inside of Ryan Newman as we're 3 wide in the middle into the back of the 36 again. He's loose, but he hangs onto it now as I was doing what I could to move him forwards, and then the 9 car kind of gets disconnected from me, so now we're just falling like a rock here as Bobby Carter's going to get to my inside as we're still on the inside of Newman, 3 wide, still in the middle at this point as we're approaching just 2 laps to go here in the first stage. And we actually, TJ Majors came over the radio and told me some cars were pitting. Ryan Blaney pits, and his teammate of Joey Logano was going to come in too. So now I'm concerned about fuel at this point. Do we even have enough? Are we good on fuel? What's the situation? I just saw the 12 come in.
Fuel is not an issue. Push as hard as you can.
All right, there you heard it from our crew chief there. Fuel is not an issue, so we're going to keep pushing, coming to the white flag here in stage 1 now on that inside lane into P18, the double zero there of Quinn Hoff just in front of myself, as well as Bubba Wallace on his outside. We're going to take it 3 wide now as there's cars coming out of the pit lane that did take fuel. Blaney, Logano included now as they're going to come up right in front of Clint Boyer there, who's going to get into the back of Brendan Gaughan, and now this creates a big mess now as we're all coming together. Everyone's having to slow down because they're still getting up to speed. Logano, Blaney in the same situation now as it's turned into a complete mess here on the final lap of stage 1. I have nowhere to go here. I could get to the inside here, but nothing's working. I get a push from behind from the 9 of Chase Elliott. Bubba Wallace on my outside, as well as I think the double zero still of Quinn Hoff as we dive down into turns 3, and everyone's slowing up again. We might have cars running out of fuel here on the final lap now as we're all into the back of Clint Boyer. There's definitely cars out of fuel. We finally have a chance to get up to the higher lane, and then the Reagan, he goes to the pit lane. Everybody's pitting here. The 95, the 16, the 38, the 3, the 13. So some drivers running out of fuel as we come through into this tri-oval. Blaney's going to somehow stay on the lead lap. The 10 in front of us is running out of fuel, it looks like, as we're closing in quickly, but not quick enough. We come through, though, to somehow get 7th here on the first stage in Talladega. What a wild first opening stage this was now, as there was quite a few close calls with having potential crashes, cars coming out of the pit lane in front of the field on the last lap, cars running out of fuel coming to the finish there in stage 1. That was certainly wild. Now, as thankfully, Blaney, for him, he would stay on the lead lap. Joey Logano would have to take the lucky dog. Kyle Busch was actually the reason for that first caution, so he's out of this race, unfortunately, as we are down a teammate as Bobby Carter won stage 1, keep in mind, so he has a playoff point. But we would lose a few positions on the pit lane, of course, due to the drivers that had already pitted and could stay out here at the end of stage 1 now as we are underway for the start of the second stage here in Talladega. Will it live up to the hype that we just had in stage 1? We're about to find out now as we are underway for 12 laps. So there's about 12 laps of fuel in the car, so if we can just stay in the draft here for a little bit, we should be fine and not have to worry there, as there was obviously some concerns at the end of stage 1 as we saw some drivers pit, some ran out of fuel coming to the line. That was very, very wild as we're already 3 wide here. Ryan Blaney leading that far outside lane. Ryan Preece there in P6 in the middle trying to get that draft from Chad Fincham. He has help from the 73 of Bobby Carter now as we dive down this back straightaway towards turn 3. Just behind me we got Timmy Hill. Brendan Gaughan, though, out front at this point now as Matt Kenseth up in the mix. Eric Almirola just in front of us. Almirola was one of the drivers who ran out of fuel coming to the line, but he still managed to get P6 in that first stage now as we go down this front straightaway. There you see Chastain behind us. A lot of underdog drivers right now in the mix here in Talladega Superspeedway as we come through to complete this first and opening lap of the second stage in the Geico 500. Brendan Gaughan still out front. Kenseth, though, leads that bottom lane, and Kenseth, with help from Eric Almirola, is going to go to the front here on the second lap of stage 2 as we're continuing to follow through the center of the corner to the inside of Brendan Gaughan, and we're going to move up into P3. And we're going to continue to kind of follow Almirola, but he moves up the track, so I, of course, have to follow him here. Now, as he's going to go even higher than Kenseth, I stay in line with Kenseth now, seeing the opportunity to maybe get to the lead, but no, Kenseth and Almirola all the way up to the wall they go, and now we have help from the 66 of Timmy Hill as we come through turns 3 and 4, and now we are out front leading here in Stage 2, our very first lap sled at the Talladega Superspeedway. This very track was our very first Cup Series start, if you remember back to last season when we had that hot seat there in Talladega now. So this is marks the one kind of season anniversary of our first Cup start now as we dive down into turns 1. Of course, now it turns into just trying to manage the lanes behind me, hoping that it would stay kind of one lane trying to do anything, and sure enough, we come through in lap 4, 9 laps to go in stage 2, still out front at this point. Then Bobby Carter, though, down the back straightaway gets a huge run. Now we have to protect 2 lanes. This is where it gets a lot trickier for myself. I don't have a lot of experience yet in this game protecting multiple lanes. Now as I get up to the 77 to Chastain, then the 73 gets a run to my inside, and that kind of caught me off guard. I could have maybe tried to come down and block him, but I felt it was too early to make an overly aggressive block here in Talladega. They're going 4 wide behind us now as everyone's just kind of blowing by me on the inside at this point now, as I have no help as they were all fighting so hard, 4 wide, 3 wide as well, going at it behind us. So now we're kind of falling back down the order at this point. Now we got the 66 of Timmy Hill, who's able to get to my outside. Daniel Suarez on my inside there as we go down towards turn 3. And then everyone kind of migrated up to the higher lanes here in Talladega, which got very weird. And then I go to the inside. The 37 leaves me out, and I couldn't really get anything from the cars in front on the inside. So now it gets even worse. We continue to fall down the order. Now down to P13. McDowell has gone past, as well as the 43 of Bubba Wallace. Chad Fincham's coming through as well, closing in now on the halfway point of the second stage. Bobby Carter out front, though, leading the way now as we come through and now down to P18 in the later stages of the second stage. Now as we go down this back stretch on lap 7, we'd finally kind of gotten into position there as we got to the back of Fincham. He saves it again, as we've seen so many saves already here in this race in Talladega. Trying, though, to just get up towards that top 10 in the final moments of the second stage. Now as the 34 goes around in front of the field, collecting Bubba Wallace, Kenseth, myself, involved a bunch of cars. The big one strikes in Talladega as the 34 blew a tire into turns 3, and around he went, collecting a whole bunch of drivers, including us now, as we have damage on the car, but we got very, very lucky now to not get a whole lot of damage. Holy my goodness, that was a close one, guys. I'm so glad that we only got a little bit of damage out of that. There you heard the reaction from myself on the radio now, as we would, of course, pit to repair the damages now, as that was certainly a wild moment. This wild Talladega race continues here so far as we're back underway. Only 2 laps remain here in stage 2 now, but we, like I said, very fortunate that we're still in this race now, as that could have certainly ended our race here today in Talladega, but we got very lucky to kind of avoid most of it and only took a little bit of damage on the right front of the car, but a whole lot of cars behind us went crashing. Denny Hamlin, Bubba Wallace took a huge hit to the outside wall, and that was very unfortunate for him, but this run really didn't go anywhere to the final lap. Now here we are on in stage 2 as we go down this back straightaway, about a half a lap to go. Clint Boyer there on the bottom now, as I'm just trying to get a big run there as he kind of protects at the top. I get into the back of him now, as I was trying to initially make it 3 wide, but of course he covered it off very well. Bobby Carter was leading this final stage, but the final lap of stage 2, and then completely blows the lead away as we come through out of turns 4, trying to get to the outside of Boyer. He protects up to the wall again now, as I almost wanted to turn him at this point, but we're actually going to go to the inside of him through the tri-oval. No stage points here in stage 2 as we come through to the line there to get to P17, as we lost the spot as well to Chris Buescher right at the end of that second stage. William Byron there in P18, Matt DiBenedetto there in 12th, Boyer as well up in the top 15. If you remember back to last episode, Clint Boyer actually blew the victory away on the final restart in overtime in Richmond. As Ryan Preece wins stage 2, gets a playoff point, we would pit here. Now some drivers actually staying out, but I decided we were going to pit for to put about half a can of fuel in the car, 4 tires as well, and that way maybe we won't have to take tires for what could be the last pit stop coming up under the green flag conditions. So we gain 1 spot on the pit lane, so we'll be restarting P16 here for the start of the 3rd and final stage. Not the preferred lane here for the restart, but we are underway for stage 3 here in Talladega. So far, a wild race at this super speedway, and now we are underway for the final 15 laps, or hopefully at the end of these 15 laps will be number 1 of 40 here as we go down towards turns 1, and of course the AI already going at it. We got the 73 of Bobby Carter up on the very top with Timmy Hill now as we come through the center of turns 1 and 2, and of course we're going to get into the mix here. We're going to make a 3 wide up the middle right off the bat now, as the AI certainly have been very comfortable to race around. There's been some very, very hairy moments, but we've managed to hang in there now as we go down this back straightaway into the back of the 00 of Quinn Hoff. We got some help from the 24 of William Byron as we dive down into turns 3. Boyer moving his way forwards on this bottom lane now as it's the 95 of Christopher Bell leading the way here as we come through out of turns 4. Is this middle lane going absolutely nowhere, as I still have help from that 24 of Byron, and now we're going to try and drop down a little bit, and then I decide, you know what, we're going to take this run to the outside of Timmy Hill here because I saw I had the help from the 24, so I just kind of keep this run going as we complete the first lap of this third and final stage here as we go down into turns 1 just behind that 00 of Quinn Hoff now. As you can see, I think that is Chad Fincham on the far outside now as he is losing ground. No, that's actually Joey Gase, that is, as we come through heading down this back straightaway. So we get down into the middle here behind Quinn Hoff now as we're on the outside of the 77 of Ross Chastain. We kind of go up for a moment there behind the 51, but we get back down there in line behind that 00 of Quinn Hoff as we're up the, or as he's up the inside of Kurt Busch, still 3 wide in the middle at this point now. So just continuing this wild racing here as we came through on lap 35. They're going 4 wide in front of us there for a brief moment. Boyer and his teammate Custer, Suarez, Chastain, they were all going 4 wide, as I still am linked up actually with the 24 of William Byron, but then we would get disconnected here as we came through on lap 36. Daniel Suarez now just behind myself here as we come through turns 1, still 3 wide in the middle now as we get into the back of Kurt Busch. He is a little bit loose now as we go down this backstretch. I was pushing him very hard here down the back straightaway, and you can see because his car is just all over the place. Kurt Busch absolutely wheeling the car now as we go down this front stretch behind us. Matt Kenseth actually blows a tire. He's into the outside wall with 12 laps to go. That brings out a caution, and very interestingly, we have 12 laps to go, and that's right around how much fuel you can get out of a car in this track, about 12 laps with 3x wear at least. Now, as I might turn it up to 4x fuel wear here in the future, we'll see. We might dabble into that a little bit, but Eric Almirola out front at this point. I decided we're going to throw 4 tires on it because we still had a whole fuel run to go. Well, surprisingly, the AI did not do that. We're actually down 18 spots into P31 for what could be the final restart of the day. Now, given how crazy this race has been, I don't think this is going to be the final restart now as we are underway here from the 31st position. I'm confident we'll be able to work our way back very quickly just because of how crazy this has been. I feel like you can make up a lot of ground now as we're already going to go to the inside of the 16 of Justin Haley, another driver we're battling with for Rookie of the Year. Jimmy Johnson hasn't had the best race. He is still behind us now as Martin Truex Jr. is actually right behind us as well, so we could get linked up with our teammate of Martin Truex Jr. here as we go down this backstretch. Of course, we need to make up this ground as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, going absolutely nowhere here so far on this restart. Chase Elliott on the far outside as it was a 00 of Quinn Hoff and Chad Fincham up front. Fincham won the Daytona 500, and with less than 10 laps to go, he is trying to go back-to-back on the plate tracks and get a win in Talladega, but now we're really starting to make up some ground here as we exit turns 4 up into the top 25. A big push from behind from Truex. We're going to send it to the inside of Blaney. Now we might be 4 wide again. We are 4 wide now as we come through the Tri-Oval. A lot of 4 wide racing we've seen today as 7 laps to go. We're already up into the top 20 here as we go up the inside of the 3 of Austin Dillon. We continue up into the top 15 already on lap 41. So this 4 tire call so far works out in our favor because we're already up towards a top 10 position as we exit turns 4 with less than 10 laps to go in Talladega. So we might be able to get ourselves into a position here and maybe have a chance to win this race if we play our cards right to get that first win in our rookie season with 6 laps to go now remaining as we go down towards turns 1. We come through now up towards the middle lane here, down the back straightaways. We actually have an incoming pit report here from Matt O'Brien.
Daniel Suarez is reporting he thinks he has a tire going down.
There, you heard it there from the pit report. Matt O'Brien there says that Suarez potentially has a tire going down as we had a big moment right there with the 17 of Chris Buescher. He nearly loses it. He saves it now as we have about 5 laps to go here in the Talladega Super Speedway for the Geico 500 now as we come through out of turns 2 running P13. Here's we go down this back straightaway to the outside of Bobby Carter and even to the outside of the 3 of Austin Dillon. 3 wide on the far outside as we go down this back straightaway now as there's the 96. He's losing the tire. Suarez goes crashing down the backstretch collecting the 24 and the 48 of Jimmy Johnson, the 7-time champion. The caution comes out. Suarez thought right now as he said that he potentially has a tire going down. Sure enough, it goes down. The caution comes out. This will force overtime here in Talladega. What's very interesting to look at is Clint Bowyer is leading. He was leading in the last overtime at Richmond in the last episode, and he blew it away when he did obviously not get that victory. So he's no longer so far in that playoffs yet. So if he wins this race here and hangs on in overtime, Clint Bowyer will be in the playoffs. Now, as we do not get a good launch at all here going into turns 1, as I think it was actually to do with me getting into the back of the 73 of Bobby Carter, so I might have just completely threw any chance we had away on that restart, as unfortunately as well, we're on the outside. Jimmy Johnson now up into P16. Here's we go down this back straightaway. A lap and a half to go. Clint Bowyer still out front at this point here as we're side by side with the 38 of John Hunter Nemechek. Cole Custer's going to blow by, and finally I have a chance to get to that bottom lane. Here's we go down into turns 3. But the eyes right now are on Clint Bowyer. We are definitely too far out of range now to have a chance of winning. Jimmy Johnson on the far outside, the 7-time, falls back now as we're going to go up the inside of the 41. A little bit of contact with him. He saves it here as we go down into the travel. So many close moments here in this race, and now it's going to come down to the final lap where Clint Bowyer is still in command, but Joey Logano in that second position is ready to pounce on Bowyer if an opportunity rises as we go down into turns 1 here on this final lap in Talladega. Bubba Wallace now falling back. We go to the inside of him, as well as Eric Almirola now to the inside of Chris Buescher, just behind the number 1 here of Kurt Busch, who drives that Monster Energy Camaro for Chip Ganassi Racing. A half a lap to go for Clint Bowyer, who's looking for that first win of the season and that playoff lock as we go down into turn 3. But Bowyer, he chooses the outside lane. Joey Logano to the inside with help from Christopher Bell. Logano to the front here on the final lap in Talladega as we exit turns 4. Bowyer blows it away again for the second race in a row in overtime as we go down into the trial. Very close with the 1 car. He's sideways. He saves it. And Joey Logano will win the Geico 500 in Talladega for the first win of the season for the Penske driver of Joey Logano. What a wild race here in Talladega as we come home in the 12th position there. As that was action-packed from start to finish. Definitely a crazy one there as you see the rest of the finishing order on your screen. Jimmy Johnson down there in P25, who was up towards the front before that overtime, or well, let's say up towards the front, he was up in the top 20 before that restart. But now we're going to go into actually a post-race interview here with Matt O'Brien.
Wow, P12 for you, Gary. That was a wild one. Walk us through what happened.
Yeah, that was crazy from start to finish there in that race, and of course we got a really good finish out of it, so I can't thank the team enough for especially fixing the damage on that car after that stage 2 crash. But stage 1, like I don't know what happened at the end there. I thought we were going to run out of fuel for a second. We managed to stay in it, and it worked out. But yeah, that crash we avoided. Well, we got a bit of it, and then we had some damage, but we avoided it for the most part. A lot of guys didn't, so we got really lucky there. Towards the end, things didn't quite go our way there, and then the caution kind of messed us over and got us on the outside, and then the car just didn't go off the restart. But so happy that we were still able to get P12 out of it. So yeah, overall, a good day. Looking forward to going into the next one, which I think we're going to Dover, if I'm not mistaken. So hopefully we'll have a chance there.
Thank you.
Alright, so there you guys have the post-race interview. We might turn that into a thing too now. So I hope you guys enjoyed. We had the radio segment, we had pit reporters, we had everything in this episode. A crazy race to go along with it. Just cannot believe how wild that was. And as always, if you guys enjoyed, you do know what to do. In the next one, you can see we have 3 races here. The Truck Series, the Xfinity Series, as well as the Cup Series. All at Dover, I believe. So looking forward to that. Dover, I think we've always had a decent history at, as well as especially in the Cup Series from the NASCAR Heat 4 career mode. We might have won a race here. I can't remember. But we'll see what we can do at that one. Hopefully we'll be up in the mix there as you see the playoff grid for the Cup Series. So Logano locked in with the win in Talladega. Jimmy Johnson, 12 points out. Austin Dillon, 4 out. Byron, 14. Custer, 15. Bowyer throws 2 wins away in 2 races in overtime. He's now 23 points out. Bubba Wallace still holding on to that last position there as Kurt Busch is in 14th. Kenseth, we got so many rookies here too. Christopher Bell, Tyler Reddick, myself. But that will do it for this episode. So thank you all for taking the time out of your day for watching. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day, everybody.